Hello and welcome back to Lord Winklebottom Investigates. Well, that's the grieving daughter. Ooh.
I say, this is a most appetizing looking foliage.
Yes.
My word, this plant really does look frightfully tasty.
How rude. Also, it's impressive that you can chew and keep that
Oh dear,
pipe in your mouth.
awfully embarrassing. I do hope that wasn't an important clue.
Hopefully not. You got some cheers.
Let's take these with us.
Indeed, it will be sheer folly to leave them. I say sheer folly, because they're...
Yes, I
Yes.
understand. Actually, I believe they're secateurs.
I am a Philistine, and I do not know my difference between scissor-type things.
I once knew a chap who was killed after getting trapped in one of those. Sir Bumbles II. Very nasty way to go.
Ooh.
I once knew a chap.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of dangerous plants here.
I have no idea what this sap is. I'm certainly not going to touch it if I don't know it's safe. Maybe if we could find out more about it.
Mm-hmm.
This pitcher plant is full of nasty-looking liquid. Some kind of sap, I presume.
What did
Yeah.
you call me?
A cactus, covered in dozens of needles.
I'm keeping well away. Got a dreadful phobia of needles, don't you know?
Doesn't that rather interfere with your work as a doctor?
Not at all. I just close my eyes when I use them, that's all. It's very common fear, you know. Most of my patients scream when they see me with one.
I see. And a hose.
I don't really want to lug around an entire hosepipe if I don't have a reason to.
An entire hose
Used for
pipe.
cutting tough vines. This seems unlikely to be effective.
Oh, okay. Well, let's say hi to Constance. Hi, I'm sorry to hear about your father.
Greetings, you must be Miss Gilfroy. Our most sincere condolences on your sad loss.
If it isn't Lord Winklebottom. Father talked about you often, and you must be Mr. Frumple?
Doctor, actually. That is, I mean, sorry for your loss, miss.
First mother and now this. I think we must have done something unspeakable in a past life to suffer so much pain in this one. Don't you agree, Lord Winklebottom?
There has been some terrible tragedy here, I agree, but I fear there may be some more earthly causes for the most recent one, at least.
You think there's
Oh.
villainy at work here?
We don't know yet, however his death was quite a shock, as far as I know, he was fit as a fiddle before he died.
True.
In any case, Dr. Frumple will be able to tell us more.
I think, if you don't mind, I'd just like to be left alone for a while.
Understandable.
Goodbye for now, Miss Gilfroy.
Let's head back to the drawing room. And we can talk with the Reverend. Nice watch.
Greetings, sir.
Ah, hello, my child. I am most pleased to make your acquaintance at this sad time.
Pleased to meet you. I'm Lord Winklebottom III, and this is my colleague, Dr. Reginald Frumple.
Bless you, my children. I am Reverend Archibald Peabody.
I see. No, the other people around here?
Do you know any of the other guests?
I believe I may have seen Madame Lavinia at some interfaith conference or other, but not to speak to. Other than that, I'm afraid not.
Based off it, I would say, or the outfit, I would say Catholic. Although, well, no. Yeah, definitely Catholic, because Episcopalian or, not Lutheran, but Anglican typically wear a full white collar, whereas Catholics have the tab. At least based off of the places that I've been, I am no expert.
Do you know why Gilfroy invited you here today?
Oh, I'm afraid I wouldn't know. I've not heard from him for a few years, until just recently when he wrote to me out of the blue. I know he had something to announce, but I'm afraid I don't know what.
It is most intriguing, to be sure.
Yes.
Well, thank you for your time, Reverend.
Oh, yes, quite so, my boy, quite so.
Suppose we could, examine the pipe.
This tube is part of the network of pipes Gilfrey used to get around the house. Being amphibious, he preferred to stay in these as much as possible.
Ingenious system, mind you.
Ingenious indeed. Oh, you take a look at him.
Oh, just look at him, Frumple. Died in his house tube network. It simply doesn't make any sense. He was such a hardy fellow.
If we can get him out, I'll determine what killed him. Never you fear.
Nothing to be done for the poor fellow until we can drain the water, I fear.
We shall have to get him out of there if I'm to do an autopsy. Can't very well determine the cause of death just by gawping at him through the glass, you know.
Yes. Oh,
One of those newfangled gramophone players. The music plays through this trumpet.
Modern technology is wonderful. Just look how tiny it is.
A collection of gramophone records.
Oh look, they have sounds of the sea, featuring periwinkle, flange and the crustaceans. I love their music.
I think I'll stick to the classics.
anything else?
A collection of...
Oh look, they have sounds of...
No.
I think I'll stick...
Okay, fiction books.
Various works of fiction. These are most likely Ethelberta's. Aristotle preferred his scientific tomes instead.
Oh, Shakespeare. The masters made us read it at school, toted old Ross. Don't mind the one with the two lovers from rival families of mongooses and capybaras, though.
Aww. That is kind of adorable. Okay. That was the drawing room. Head up here, I suppose. Aren't you a dashing fellow?
Ah, I do believe I've met this gentleman, a fellow by the name of Tobin.
Wily looking chap. I dare say he would have a tale or two to tell.
Indeed so, quite the talented wordsmith too. He throws around some most impressive verbiage. This is a self-portrait, apparently, of a fellow by the name of Lake Cabilius, a renowned scientist and explorer.
Maybe a colleague of Gilfrey's.
Perhaps so. I believe I may have met the chap once at a party held by him and his husband. Very good food, as I recall.
I'm not sure if those are references. I think that's a reference to another game. Explore the study. Oh, hello.
This must be a baby photograph of Constance.
Look at a little bow.
Oh my.
Oh, I say, this is a bit risque.
I've never understood why mole rats are so averse to wearing clothing like any normal animal.
Bunch of exhibitionists, if you ask me.
The naked mole rat.
A photograph from one of Gilfrey's expeditions.
Chap suddenly got around a bit, didn't he?
Photographs from some of Gilfrey's expeditions.
Chap suddenly got around a bit.
A diving suit, used by Gilfrey to remain out of his tube system for long periods. It looks like the helmet can be removed.
Interesting.
Looks like our dear friend Inspector Culver has solved another case. It seems this was an international case. He was aided by a foreign chap named Inspector Waffles.
I would have to go for a waffle right now.
Is there any time you couldn't?
Coin
A
case.
collection of old foreign coins. Gilfrey liked to keep them as a memento of his travels.
I had a patient pay me in foreign currency once. Gave me 1,000 something others as payment. Thought I was rich, but it turned out they were only worth half a crown.
I think I'll leave these be. Not really cricket to go around stealing from a dead chap.
I mean, you've done nothing but walk around picking up things that don't belong to you since we left home this morning, but have to draw the line somewhere, what?
A wire metal hanger with nothing hanging on it.
Maybe his clothes are in the wash, or maybe he didn't need to wash them anyway. I mean, what with him being submerged most of the time anyway.
Yes.
Might come in useful, I suppose.
No wire. I won't even complete that.
The sign next to this light says, "Warning, do not open pressure valve when pump is powered."
Maybe just a slight turn, just to see what happens.
No, Frumple?
Hello.
Greetings, dear lady.
Oh, hello.
I am Lord Winklebottom III, and this is my companion, Dr. Frumple.
I'm Vivian. Dr. Vivian Price.
You're a doctor.
Yes. Well, sort of. Not medicine. Geology. And physics. Also biology and linguistics. A few things.
Yes,
Goodness.
well, medicine is difficult, especially for a, well, you know.
Frumple?
Oh, don't worry. I'm used to that sort of reaction.
Tisk. Oh, talk about your work. You seem to be a very well-educated
Were
chameleon.
you invited here for this great announcement too?
Me? Oh, no, I live here. Well, not here in the house, but on the island. I worked, I suppose, for Admiral Gilfroy.
Strange, the maid didn't mention other stuff.
No, she wouldn't. People tend to forget about me, you see, Mr. Winklebottom. Sometimes I think I might as well just blend into the scenery.
What was the nature of your employment here?
You know of Gilfroy's expeditions. I helped him examine the artefacts he brought back. Cataloguing, mostly. But sometimes there'd be something more interesting.
Anything
Yeah.
recently? Could that be what he intended to announce? Some big discovery?
No, nothing. I'm sure I would have known if there was something like that. I am sorry, Mr. Winklebottom.
Yeah, that would probably be the reason why she wasn't mentioned, is that the maid was referring to everyone who worked, the estate as itself, but she seems to be working academically. And the other people here.
What do you know of the other people in the house?
Not very much, I'm afraid. I haven't really spoken to anybody. I don't even know the staff all that well. I tried talking to the gardener earlier, but he was in a frightful temper.
Really?
You mentioned the gardener was in a bad mood. Do you know why?
Oh, well, he's always kind of grumpy, you know, but he seemed perfectly livid last time I saw him. Thought he was being given the sack, I think. Something about a vegetable patch? You should probably ask him.
Well,
Thank you, miss.
we were given a motive, but that usually means that is a red herring. Seems angry at Gilfroy. Humphrey. Kind of adorable. Works researcher, lives on the island. Old friend of Gilfroy, sea lion of the cloth. Daughter of Aristotle. You. Hello.
Greetings, good sir.
Ulysses Spode of Spode, and Flabbernacle. At your service, sir.
Which boat are you?
Ludicrous collection of names, that is.
Quite so, Frumple.
Your role?
And what part do you play in today's events?
Don't rightly know, sir. Old Gilfroy wanted me to come and observe, he said. Worried there might be a spot of bother about whatever it was he was announcing.
Legal bother, you mean?
As you say. Wouldn't tell me in advance what the whole bally palaver was all about, though. I suppose now we'll never know.
Well, perhaps.
So, since I'm here anyway and the old boy has popped off, might as well sort through his paperwork and make sure everything is in order. Lots to sort out when somebody dies, you know. Especially somebody as rich as him.
Understandable.
We shall speak more later.
Always here if you need me.
That's kind. Alright. A
A
notepad?
notepad. Looks like the top page has been torn off.
Oh, you know what this means. Quick, give me a pencil.
Yes!
I'm going to rub over it and reveal what was written on the torn-off sheet. This is my favourite.
Here you go, then.
It's working, it's working.
Let me see now. 1 dozen eggs, 1 lettuce, a quart of milk. Well done, Frumple. You've uncovered an old shopping list.
How disappointing.
A small blade used for opening letters.
My God, Winklebottom, this might be it. The murder weapon.
Other than there being no blood in the water, this blade barely being sharp enough to break paper, let alone flesh, and the fact the murderer would have to dry it off and place it back in his desk after using it, rather than just taking it with him, yes, I'd say this fits the facts rather well.
Nobody likes you when you act like a blasted clever clogs, you know.
On top of all that, we don't even know that this is a murder yet.
Yes, you've made your point.
Oh, look, this is a map of the island. This will come in useful, I'm sure.
Very useful.
let's take one of these envelopes.
I guess we could use the
I've already got one of these.
envelopes as evidence containers.
This appears to be a large collection of books about botany.
Plants and whatnot. How dull. Biology is much more interesting.
I mean, it is a subsection of biology.
I wonder if I can find any information about that plant we saw in the orangery. Ah, yes, here we are.
What does it say?
Apparently, that sticky fluid in the plant is a kind of resin. Mix it with a strong alkali and apply a heat source and it'll set hard as rock.
Maybe we could use that for something if we can get hold of a heat source.
You know, like you would find in a kitchen.
From what I recall, this door leads to the attic. Sadly, it appears to be locked at the moment.
Why do people insist on locking doors all over the place? Most inconvenient. Nobody ever considers us.
I rather imagine Gilfroy wasn't expecting to die, so probably wasn't anticipating our investigation.
Well, yes, I suppose the whole thing is rather more inconvenient for him.
Let's see. Oh, rather dashing.
A painting of one Max the Tux Sheldon. I say, didn't this fellow help us out in a case once?
Indeed so. Quite a respectable chap now, but had a bit of a murky past, I recall.
Yes, gave us some information about a particularly loathsome fellow who'd been running a smuggling ring.
I'm, at this point, 98% sure that these are backers.
I say, Frumple, this is a portrait of King Alec, a most popular monarch in his day.
Oh, indeed so. A very good old boy, as I understand it.
Quite so, Frumple. A good boy indeed. A portrait of Vetus Varnus.
Maybe somebody Gilfy knew from his military days. Looks like a pretty tough, brave sort to me, at any rate.
Seems like a most agreeable fellow.
Oh, and the lava tree. Aha!
Part of Gilfrey's pipe network. This one must have allowed him to easily get into the bath.
Looks like great fun. Would be better with a mud pit at the end of it, though.
Different seats for small, medium and large posteriors. Saves accidents with small animals falling in the bowl. Most considerate.
Mm-hmm. And I guess if you need to get the middle one, you're gonna have to start playing the Towers of Hanoi.
Just a swift pull and the water flushes away.
Isn't modern science wonderful? Look at this. Silly beggars have put the toilet roll on the wrong way round.
You know, between this and the tea fiasco, I sometimes feel like I barely know who you are anymore.
I'm definitely of the idea that, yes, it goes off the top. Anything
I'll
here?
just take this.
You know, I can prescribe medication if you need it. You don't have to go around stealing drugs from dead people.
It's an empty bottle, Frumple. This might prove useful.
Absolutely not. Why, if you take that, people won't be able to wash their hooves after their ablutions. Absolutely filthy. No, I won't allow it.
Okay.
The guest bedrooms are all down here. I suppose we should investigate.
Don't know why we bother. Even the daftest criminal isn't stupid enough to leave incriminating evidence lying around his own bedroom. Well, that was a bally waste of time. What did I tell you?
I know, old friend, but we had to do it.
Well, I'm glad it saved us. So let's see. Been to there.
A
Okay.
bust of the great Caesar. Gilfrey was most interested in ancient history.
Good grief, look at his eyes. They look even more soulless than the real thing.
What is it with you and primates, Frumple? A bust of the great composer, Beethoven.
Not just a great composer, but an excellent at tricks too, you know. I hear he was an expert at rolling over.
Let's see.
A nice display of flowers. Lovely, delicious flowers. I I suppose a tiny nibble wouldn't hurt.
Careful, old thing, you'll get your head stuck in that vase.
I say you're right. Yes, my head goes all the way in. I can eat the stalks too. A long, round glass vase. It's crystal clear.
Don't go sticking your head in there again. Wouldn't want to get stuck.
But I imagine.
There's nothing left to eat in this vase.
You're addicted, man.
It's just hungry.
A fine-looking grandfather clock, though it appears to be stopped currently. I suppose nobody has wound it for a while.
My third cousin had one of these. I used to mess around with the hands to hear the cuckoo going off.
Are you sure that's not a cuckoo clock you're thinking of?
No, my third cousin is a cuckoo, and he really hates me messing around with his grandfather clock.
This painting is called Adventure Awaits, apparently.
Personally, I could do with a bit less adventure in my life.
But that'll be for next time. When we come back, folks, guess we're figuring out who more of these people are. Have a good one.